Hey Amazon, Thumb Guy here. I have here today a B6 AC Plus RC battery charger. It's designed, I think, primarily for RC batteries, but I'm going to use it for power tool batteries. I mean, they're the same chemistry, and it's designed to handle anywhere from 1 to 6 cells in series. It comes with, an AC power inlet. You can also power it off DC on the side. I don't know why I would ever do that, but maybe if you're out in the field, you're out there, in an afternoon with an RC card, you're going through multiple battery packs. You also get an assortment of connectors that go into this red and black port in the lower left. This is where you actually do the charging. And, common connector types. In my case, I'll be using primarily alligator clips. You also get this balance port. So it's not just a battery array or battery pack charger. You can also do cell level balancing. It'll discharge and recharge the batteries. It'll go through, and if a cell's higher or lower than the rest, it'll fix that. And that's the primary reason I picked this thing up. It takes, if you look, there's some labeling there on the port, and it shows what the connections ought to be depending on the number of batteries. And you can buy on Amazon, and this is all separately, connectors that fit this. This is a standard, I think it's HST, I think is the type. And I picked up a multi-pack of these for just a few dollars, and then attached on these little micro clips that I can use to clip the balance wires in the pack. So depending on your use, you may or may not need the balance function. I do, and so, yeah, it's worth my time to not have to do this manually. I can do it automatically now using this device. A quick tour of the menus here and to get a feel for how this thing works. So you have different programs, right? You've got LiPo. You can go and actually change the different battery types. So NiCad, lead acid. You can also create custom programs and custom settings. When you do custom, you can go in there and pick the voltage ranges, the individual cell voltages, cell counts, and whatnot. So if I go in here, and I'm dealing typically with LiPo or Li-Fe, lithium iron, you can go into here and pick the cell count. So when you go to actually charge, you hit this little play button here, and you can specify, okay, what current rate do you want to charge at? And then you can also specify this, the cell count. So right now it's set up for 1S. I just can increment this, and it'll automatically pick the voltage all the way up to the 6S supported. And if you're dealing with a different battery chemistry, you can go in there and into the settings menu, and which I'm going to right now do. Program, and you can set the type, right? So I've got for the different chemistries, how long does it sample them for? Because it does some auto detection, but I can also specify the type, right? So it's for lithium iron, lithium ion, lithium polymer, right? Those are all different voltages, and that matters, especially when you're stacking up a lot of them in series. So you specify what type of lithium you're typically working with. And in my case, it's lithium polymer, as in a tool battery. And you select that, and then from this point forward, once you go back out, when you start the charging routine, you only need to specify the cell count and not the chemistry. There are a bunch of other menus buried in here that you can set, different check intervals. You can go and there's a temperature port on the bottom of this as well. So if you care about charging in either cold or hot conditions, that can matter as far as the when you cut off the charging. Let's see, waste time. I think that's another thing for settling time. All right, like if you between charge and discharge, you can go and wait 5 minutes, right, for the battery to cool off a little bit. There's a safety timer, so the unit will stop whatever it's doing after this timer gets reached. So if you're going to want to stretch this out if you're going to have it run overnight unattended. Capacity cutoff. So I did a test on a 12-volt LiPo battery, and this defaulted, I think, to maybe 7,000. I set it up to 10,000. This is what it goes up to. I think the maximum is 10 amps of total capacity. So if you've got a battery that's, say, 20 amps or 30 amps, you're going to have to run multiple charge cycles on it. Beeping functions, and And then, you know, when does, if you've got a DC power source on this thing, when do you cut it off? So, yeah, that's a quick tour of the different functions. It's useful. And again, it has a discharge cycle as well. This is also something that I thought was kind of neat, because that new 12 volt, I actually wanted to discharge it before I charged it. So let me go in here and see if I can find it. No. Let's see, where is balance? There it is. So I can go in here and balance. I can do a fast charge, right, which is high current, and you can specify that current rate. Then it has a storage mode, which will discharge the battery down to a set point. I think it's typically like 25%, I think, of what the rated is. And then the discharge, which I use this. It was a little slow, though. You know, it says 2 amps, but I watched it, and it was only discharging at half of an amp. So it took overnight for it to run that battery down. And then I went back, did the charge, and when it's done charging, it'll show how much current it put in the battery. And that's what I used to make sure that I got the capacity in this new battery that I paid for. So a lot of neat little things. It takes several circuit board level components and puts them into one box. And yeah, I like it. The menu's a little cumbersome to deal with, but you learn your way around. And yeah, so that's it. All right, take care. Have a thummy day, Amazon. Bye.